Welcome back, y'all, to another episode of ROC Boys Football. Today, we are taking a look at Daniel Jeremiah's mock draft 3.1 right after the news of the Tyreek Hill trade to the Miami Dolphins, and obviously the Chiefs get that 29th overall selection. Daniel Jeremiah is one of my favorite guys to listen to when it comes to the NFL draft. He's one of the most plugged-in guys when it comes to terms with knowing what front offices think about these different prospects. And he's obviously just a very brilliant football mind. That being said, we're still going to take a look at a 2022 NFL mock draft and poke some holes in it and give you guys my thoughts and opinions. My hair going a little wild today, so excuse that. But before we get into the mock draft, you guys have been absolutely awesome with the support to the channel. If you guys like the content, like, subscribe, let us know in the comment section what you guys are thinking. We love to obviously chop it up, having a little football talk in the comment section. Without further ado, let's get into this mock. Jacksonville Jaguars go get Aidan Hutchinson. This seemingly, it's weird. It went Aidan Hutchinson was going to be the first overall pick. Then Evan Neal. Then they tag Cam Robinson, go get Brandon Sheriff, and now it looks like it's going to go be Aidan Hutchinson again. I love the pick. You guys know how I view Aidan Hutchinson, a high-character guy who was one of the best players in college football this year. Good in the run game, good getting after the passer. It makes sense that he's going to be the first overall pick to Jacksonville. 2, Detroit Lions. We just had this conversation on our last episode, so if you want to talk more about Trayvon Walker and who he is as a prospect, I encourage you guys to go check that one out. We brought on Noah Rockoff, a friend of the show, to kind of chop it up with us about it. Moral of the story is I don't really view Trayvon Walker as a top 5 guy just because he hasn't necessarily put that film out on the field. Yes, he's very physically gifted, but you want to see the physical tools, but also the film if you're going to use a top 5 selection on him. I feel like we just didn't see enough effectiveness rushing the passer to compensate for number 2 overall draft selection. I'm much more for the Detroit Lions either trading out of the pick or getting Kyle Hamilton, two options that I think are just a little bit more proven. Pick 3, Kayvon Thibodeaux. That's just the best player available. Obviously, the Houston Texans are loaded up on draft capital. They need to just focus on building that roster up. If you look at what they need in the draft, it's legitimately every position. They're just not a good team right now. I think that makes sense. Kayvon Thibodeaux is a guy that I still have a top 3 grade on. I mean, he's still one of the best players in the class. I know there's character concerns or how hard he's going to play. I'm not really buying into that. I think he's still a bona fide stud. New York Jets to number 4. They go get Sauce Gardner, cornerback, 1 in the class. He seemingly has passed Derek Stingley in most boards. Again, if Kyle Hamilton's there, forward to the New York Jets, I think you got to take him. I do like the Sauce Gardner pick. I wonder if Kyle Hamilton falls to 10 and they double up here. Number 5, the New York Giants go get the big Ickey Ekwonu, who is going to be the first tackle off the board if the Houston Texans pass on the offensive line. You kind of solve that offensive line issues. You got the big Ick probably going to play in right tackle, and then you got Andrew Thomas at left tackle. 2 really good tackles. I think this pick makes a lot of sense. It's going to help the ability to obviously protect Daniel Jones, but also run the football. It looks like Saquon Barkley will be staying in New York, so we'll keep an eye on that. Carolina Panthers, this is the best case scenario for the Panthers if Evan Neal, Charles Cross, one of those tackles falls to number 6, because this has been a position that Carolina has kind of refused to address through the draft and then just hasn't really gotten right for like the last 10 years. I think Carolina could take a crack at a quarterback, but I think it might be another down year. You see what you got with Sam Darnold, and then you go get a quarterback in next year's draft. But Evan Neal's available at 6. I feel like you got to take a shot at him. 7, the New York Giants go get Jermaine Johnson. He's a guy that the ROC Boys have absolutely loved. Obviously, the big concern is it's only really been 1 year of production that you've seen out of him. But that film and then what he's done at the Senior Bowl, what he's done at the Combine, combined with the traits and the film, he's a top 10 prospect. He's very good in the run game. He's very good off the edge rushing the passer. Again, Daniel Jeremiah notes the outstanding production. Him and Azeez Ojulari will look to kind of wreak havoc in backfields in the NFC East in New York. Atlanta Falcons, they go get Garrett Wilson, again, a position of need. Garrett Wilson's our wide receiver 1 off the board. I like this pick. You look at that wide receiving room, and it's barren. So could you take a crack at Malik Willis because you're kind of rebuilding that team? Absolutely. But I feel like if you take Malik Willis, the counter argument is you're kind of setting him up to fail because that offense is just – it doesn't have any talent. Like Cordell Patterson is your main guy, and then Kyle Pitts, a second-year tight end. And then it's just really, really weak at the wide receiver position. So you go get Garrett Wilson, and then maybe next year, then you're looking to go get a wide receiver or a quarterback who can kind of lead your franchise after Matt Ryan's giving you guys so many years of good production. Charles Cross to Seattle. This is more of a value pick. We have a top 10, top 5. I think he's 6 on our big board. We love Charles Cross. Again, you're drafting an offensive tackle. You want to make sure that offensive tackle is going to be able to protect the quarterback. That is the number one thing. Charles Cross is the best in the class at doing that. From what he's shown on the film, he's the best pass protector out of Evan Neal, out of Ickey Ekwonu. He just doesn't have that pop, that explosion in the run game, which is maybe making him fall a little bit past Ickey and Evan Neal. He's also maybe not quite the athlete, but the feet are absolutely phenomenal on this kid. Then the Jets go get Drake London. I've heard a lot of buzz that the Jets are going to use that number 10 overall pick on a wide receiver. They obviously want to kind of bolster up that wide receiving room with the news coming out that they had a trade in place for Tyreek Hill and were prepared to shell out a lot of money and draft capital to get him in New York. Obviously didn't end up coming true, so I wouldn't be surprised to see the New York Jets take a wide receiver at number 10. The interesting part is Kyle Hamilton would be an absolutely awesome fit here, and he's still on the board. And Kyle Hamilton's a guy that he could go as early as 2 to the Lions or as late to, I'm guessing he'll have him going to the Commanders. Kyle Hamilton. I promise you I didn't look beforehand. Kyle Hamilton going to the Commanders. That's just the best player available. Obviously, Landon Collins on his way out of Washington. Kyle Hamilton's a top 5 prospect. It's just he playing safety. And so you're seeing some tackles. You're seeing some edge rushers. You're seeing some wide receivers go above him. But he's going to be a steal if he falls outside the top 10 to whoever gets him. One thing to note, no quarterbacks yet taken. So kind of interesting to note. I haven't seen Jordan Davis go this high. Again, I think the Vikings are really in the market for a cornerback or an edge. I think that's really all that you see. Maybe a wide receiver if they're looking to replace Adam Thielen. They go Jordan Davis, a guy who started off really high, and then people got into his film and kind of have concerns about him rushing the passer. And how are you going to take a top 15 guy who is really only a 2-down guy and kind of a run stuffer? Jordan Davis at the combine showed that, hey, you're 6'6", 341 pounds, and you're running a 4.79 40. You can teach that guy to rush the passer. I think teams are kind of coming around to that way of thinking. Again, I think the game will slow down a little bit in the NFL. His gas tank will be able to get up a little bit. And so I'm kind of on the Jordan Davis train. I don't know how I feel about passing on Derek Stingley or Trent McDuffie. That's who the Texans go get, Trent McDuffie. Again, Derek Stingley he's really hard to pass up just because of how good he was as a true freshman. I get there's the injury concerns. I get there's just kind of character concerns now as well. I don't think it's entirely his fault. That LSU team had a lot of baggage going on. I mean, Edo, that's kind of how he coached, and it obviously worked out. They had one of the best teams that we've ever seen in that 2019-2020 year. That being said, it was kind of really rocky the last 2 years Derek Stingley was there. He's obviously dealt with some injuries, so he's falling in the draft. If he gets to the Eagles at 15, I think they should absolutely hammer that pick. We'll see if it happens. The Ravens go get George Karlaftis. I think that's a really good fit for Baltimore. I think he's George Karlaftis. They like to move around their defensive linemen, pair him up with Odafe. I think George Karlaftis can represent some good value rushing inside as well. I know we have a lot of Ravens fans who follow us, so let me know what you guys think about this pick. Jordan Davis has kind of been the only pick that we've seen the last couple of mocks that we've looked at, so let us know what you guys are thinking about the George Karlaftis pick at pick 14, because that's certainly an interesting one to take a look at. If Derek Stingley doesn't go to the Eagles, I'm going to have an aneurysm. Devonte Wyatt first to the Eagles. Again, he's a guy that I don't think the film showed how dominant, how good he is. That defensive scheme was kind of set to He's going to eat a lot of double teams. He's not really going to get penetration, but he goes to the Senior Bowl and shows that he can do that. And then he goes and he tests very similar to Jordan Davis. He's just a little bit smaller than Jordan Davis. He's still a phenomenal athlete. He's a very good football player. We do have a first-round grade on him, but we don't have a top 15 grade on him. Maybe a little bit of a reach for my opinion, but he's obviously a very, very good football player. Devin Lloyd, so still no Derek Stingley. Devin Lloyd, again, he's not our linebacker 1. He's our linebacker 1B behind Nakobe Dean. Seemingly the media, a lot of the NFL scouts have Devin Lloyd as the number 1 guy. It's very interesting. So I'm seeing like the Micah Parsons comps because, yes, Devin Lloyd shows that he can blitz off the edge on his film, but he's not nearly the athlete. He doesn't have the explosiveness or the strength that Micah Parsons had. I mean, he's a 4'7" guy. He's not a blazer, but he's 6'3". He's got long arms. He's got good ball skills. He's a former safety. He's got good instincts. Like, he checks a lot of the boxes. I think he's a very good football player, and I have him as my linebacker 1B, but Nakobe Dean kind of showed me a little bit more than I thought Devin Lloyd did, especially playing in the Pac-12. Trevor Penning to the Chargers. This has been a popular pick too. I'm happy to see the Trevor Penning hype die down a little bit. The mocks that had him going 7 or 5 to the Giants were just, quite frankly, absurd. He's not really on that level, those top 3 tackles, the Charles Cross, the Ickeys, the Evan Neals. But he's a very good football player. I think he'll fit in well at right tackle, Rashawn Slater at your left tackle. You got 2 young tackles who are very promising to protect Justin Herbert, which has become very important when you look in that division. You got a lot of good pass rushing defenses in that division out in the AFC West. So you got to make sure you adjust that. And you want to be able to protect your young franchise quarterback in Justin Herbert. The Chargers go do that with taking Trevor Penning. Saints, this is a very good fit. I'm a huge fan of it. Obviously, we have Malik Willis kind of as our QB1 just based on the physical tools that he brings to the table. Kenny Pickett's the most NFL-ready guy. You look at his film, he delivers the ball on time. He's very, very accurate. Yeah, he doesn't have the rocket arm or the crazy mobility. Although he's a good athlete, he's going to come in and be very, very solid for you. And the Saints are a win-now team. And I think that's kind of what they want to do. They want to get the ball into Alvin Kamara's hands and then play really good defense. I think Kenny Pickett's probably the best go at making that happen. Please, Derek Stingley at 19. Boye Mafe, again, he's a guy that, everybody's saying he's a freak athlete. He's a freak athlete. I didn't see it on the film. He obviously backed those rumors up with a really good combine workout. I don't have him as he doesn't have top 20 film. Maybe he has top 20 traits, but he certainly doesn't have top 20 film. And a guy like that, a redshirt senior who's been there 5 years, like those freak athletes that he's being dubbed as, they don't play 5 years of college football. So I still have question marks on how freakishly he is. I'm relatively low on Boye Mafe. I don't have a first-round grade on him. Quite frankly, I think he's more of a back end of the second-round guy. Daniel Jeremiah, though, he's a lot smarter than me. He's a lot more experienced than me. So we'll see about Boye Mafe as he embarks on his NFL journey. There he goes. Derek Stingley finally off the board. It would be a fun fit, but it's also like he literally the first year he played at LSU, his true freshman year, he would, if he put 2 more years of that, be going to Jacksonville at the number 1 slot. I don't think you have to panic this much on him and like the Eagles passing on him with all 3 first-round picks. Kind of blows my mind. He's still a very good football player, and quite frankly, it wasn't even that bad when he was playing the last 2 years. It's just the defense was bad. He was playing hurt. I think this is a relatively panic move, and I get it. You want to nail your first-round pick, but at a certain point, you got to take the guy's physical traits. He's a freak athlete. Again, he put out really good film for 1 year. I don't think you let him fall to 20. Steelers would get a steal, though. The Steelers would get a steal like that. Jameson WIlliams to the Patriots. This is interesting. They obviously want to get a weapon for Mac Jones, but I feel like Chris Olave or Jahan Dotson are a little bit better fits than Jameson WIlliams. And he doesn't seem like a Bill Belichick guy to me. I like Jameson WIlliams a lot. I have him around here on my big board. He just doesn't seem like a Bill Belichick guy. I'd kind of be surprised if they pass on Chris Olave at this point. I would absolutely love Chris Olave to the Packers. Maybe Daniel Jeremiah just made that happen so he could get Chris Olave to the Packers. if you're trying to find a guy to replace Davante Adams, and you can't, you obviously can't do it. The chemistry that Rodgers, Adams built up the last several years in Lambeau, you can't just come in and replicate it. But if you want to try, Chris Olave is your best bet. Chris Olave is a guy who has the full route tree. He just gets separation like it's his job. He obviously has extremely good burners, very good ball skills. He's the all-around wide receiver. He's our wide receiver too, just behind Garrett Wilson, but you're really splitting hairs when you're getting to Olave and Wilson. This would be an awesome pick. This is probably my favorite pick of the draft so far. 23, Treylon Burks. Interesting. Obviously, they lose Christian Kirk. I don't know how well he balances out DeAndre Hopkins. I don't know how well he fits into that offense. I just don't like Treylon Burks, quite frankly. I think you have to do a lot of scheming to get him the football. Yes, he's big. Yes, he's fast, but he's not as big or fast as we thought, according to the combine workouts. They have to add – I think they should add a weapon, obviously, after Christian Kirk, and they got to figure out what the deal is with Rondale Moore. Rondale Moore just didn't really find a spot in that offense. They kind of were just getting him touches randomly. I think they could do a little bit better job of scheming him more effective touches. But Treylon Burks, again, a guy that you really need to think about scheming touches, and you obviously have to get touches for DeAndre Hopkins. It's an interesting fit. Zion Johnson to the Cowboys. This makes a lot of sense. We've talked about it a lot. Who are they going to go get? Are they going to pass on Tyler Linderbaum? Again, a lot of guys saying they shouldn't pass on Tyler Linderbaum at 24. I probably agree, but Zion Johnson, if you want a guy, if you're in win now mode, and you want a guy who's going to fill in the biggest hole on your team, which is that guard spot, Zion Johnson's your best bet. Buffalo Bills, Sean Breece Hall, I would be absolutely furious as a Bills fan if this happened. I think there are a lot of cornerbacks I'd really rather want. Andrew Booth, Kaiir Elam. Give me one. And if I'm the Bills at 25 and Derek Stingley's there at 20, I am calling up the Pittsburgh Steelers and saying, give me that spot. Let me go get Derek Stingley. You probably only have to give up like a third-round pick to jump up 5 spots, maybe the second, but both of them are worth it. Listen, I get the Bills have a hole at the running back position, but they don't need a running back to run that offense. It's just not how they run their offense. We don't need to take a running back with their first round pick. You guys know how we feel about running backs and the value we place on running backs. I think he's not like a Bijan Robinson. Like if it's Bijan Robinson at 25 next year, I get it. But Breece Hall is good, but he's maybe the 50th on our big board. Not a 25th overall pick. This makes a lot of sense. If you're trying to get downhill, again, he's probably going to go play guard. Tyler Smith from Tulsa. He's got a lot of stuff to clean up. He's obviously very powerful, but I was watching his film at tackle. He's got a lot of work to do. He's very raw. If Tennessee, again, you were the first seed in the AFC, I would probably go get Kenyon Green, a guy who showed he can play a very high level of guard in the SEC versus Tyler Smith, a guy who's a non-power 5 guy who, yes, he's raw, but he also has a lot of question marks. You're trying to win now. I think Kenyon Green's the move. Buccaneers, they go get Travis Jones. This is an exciting pick. Him, Vita Vea, that'd be an absolute handful for any interior offensive line to pick up. I like Travis Jones. I think it's a little rich for Travis Jones, but I do like the fit. And he's a guy that, the Bucs have a pretty complete football roster. He would make this team better. And that's the whole goal of the Buccaneers at 27. How can you make this team better? Week 1, Travis Jones makes that team better week 1. Obviously, they know that he can start day 1. I agree with that. The Packers double up with some of my favorite receivers in the draft. Chris Olave, Jahan Dotson. You're talking about guys who can get separation, run that full route tree. Both guys can do it. I might just become a Packers fan after this because those are both my guys. Aaron Rodgers would be absolutely thrilled. This would be a good haul for the Green Bay Packers. Kansas City Chiefs go get Arnold Abedike and Christian Watson. Arnold Abedike is just a super, super solid football player. He's very good in the run. He's very good in the pass. He's got phenomenal hands. Like tackles can't get their hands on him. Very, very refined. He's a redshirt senior, experienced, double-digit sacks and tackles for a loss. Just an overall, just productive football player in the Big Ten, and that's what you want. He's going to come in and he's going to make you better. Week 1. Christian Watson's more of a guy that has a little bit of question marks, obviously coming from the FCS, but the 4.3 speed, the 6'4" frame, His ability to move and run clean routes is impressive. He didn't let to light up the stat sheet at the FCS level just because he's playing at North Dakota State. They like to run the ball more. Christian Watson goes down to the Senior Bowl, dominates. He's supposed to be a day 3 pick, dominates the Senior Bowl, and then absolutely dominates the Combine. Now he's getting looks at a first-round draft pick. Bengals steal the draft. Go get Tyler Linderbaum. He has big-time Creed Humphrey vibes to me, where Creed Humphrey, he's a center. Don't pick him that early. The Chiefs go and pick him with the last overall pick in the 2nd round. And he's one of the best centers in the league. I think Tyler Linderbaum's a very similar situation. People are just passing on him because he's a center. He's going to be one of the best centers in the league week 1. If you need a center or think you can upgrade that position on a lot of these teams, I would go get him. The Bengals get an absolute steal here. Joe Burrow gets his best friend here with Tyler Linderbaum. I've been saying a lot of steals of the draft. This might be take the cake. Nakobe Dean to 32 to the Detroit Lions. Huge position of need. Our number 1 prospect. He's a top 20 prospect on our big board. I get it. The length's a problem. The size might be a problem. He does not play small, and the length really isn't a problem when you have the instincts like Nakobe Dean. This dude's just going to be a good football player for 10 years in the NFL. The instincts is special. The football mind is special. The leadership is special. He was the heart, and so like Jordan Davis, flashy. Devonte Wyatt was good. Lewis Seen, Darian Kendrick, Quay Walker, like those guys were all like the Georgia defense was awesome. The heart and soul of this team on the defense side of the ball was Nakobe Dean. He was the leader. He was the guy that was on cleanup duty. Like, nothing got past Nakobe Dean. He's sideline to sideline speed. He takes on blocks extremely well in the tackle box. He blitzes the A-gap better than any linebacker in the league. He's a really good football player, and the Detroit Lions are in the business of getting good football players. They get 2 Georgia dogs. Obviously, I'm not a big of a fan of Trayvon Walker. I'm a massive fan of Nakobe Dean. It doesn't matter who they get at number 2. If they get Nakobe Dean at 32, I am very happy with the Detroit Lions draft. That'll do it. Once again, we appreciate you guys for tuning into the channel. These are just I have a blast talking ball and talking these prospects and different potential fits. You guys in the comment section blowing it up is always very, very fun to see. I love talking ball there in the comment section as well. That's it on the 2022 NFL mock from the God, Daniel Jeremiah. We appreciate you guys for watching and see you in the comment section. We'll talk to y'all later. Peace.